didn't go to the range tonight because of certain reasons. Didn't really feel like leaving the camp, so decided to stay and have a bonfire and just kind of chill out. So if you guys want to ask any questions, I'm just gonna be chilling by the fire for a while. So I'll come and check up, and if I'm a Slap City person, I bet there's lots of questions people could ask. How do I wipe my ass? Well, it's quite simple.
With your right hand.
With my right hand, not my left. So if you have any questions, let me know and I'll answer them.
Who was it?
First question. Why do you always get on my live and ask Lewis to call me? Call you. Okay, I'll tell him. Yeah. Evan wants you to call him. It's like the only reason he gets on my lives.
Tell him I said hey. How are you going like right
Evan, Aoka says hey.
Hey Evan.
Yeah, he's gonna call you.
Just because you tell him to call doesn't mean that he's going to call.
Lewis!
He might be busy or laying down. He has a headache.
Well, I make the best tea. Okay. Lewis actually isn't feeling well, so he's laying down. Sorry, but he probably won't be calling you right now. Shit, every time I sit down there's someone.
Why don't you just hold your
Have you been? I'll just sit right here. I've been pretty good. Well, it's colder here now. It's not hot anymore. I don't think it's gotten above like 85 degrees.
Today was 96.
What? No way. That did not feel over 80 degrees.
That's because it got down to 65 last night, so it still felt cool.
It was super cold today.
And also it's in
Well, apparently I'm hallucinating. How's the video quality? Is it pretty good or is it awful? Well, I have lots of winter clothes, so I'm ready for it. I think this is the best place for my signal, because here in the tree it gets pretty bad.
There's cans of vegetables in there. There's
I can't see those veggies. I'm not sick.
I don't know if you're interested in the vegetable.
But you wanted that tea on the way, right?
So how have you all been doing? How's life in Babylon? It's stressful here. We're trying to not think about it. Where does everyone work? Anybody have an awesome job? Or does everyone hate their jobs? If you hate your job, move out here. pretty much any reason you could hate life, just come out here. It gets better. Sometimes. Okay, I'm done eating. So I can stop being weird and eating in front of you guys. Oh my god, it's so windy. It's honestly pretty freaking nice here. It has been for the last couple days. I'm just being kind of an ass about it, but really it's been fucking beautiful as fuck. Lots of fucks. It's that fucking beautiful. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about like what it's like to be a slabber, or I don't know, the way I live, what resources I use, I mean, it's not easy peasy living out here, I'll tell you what. It's like a whole different type of gene of person that comes out here. You can't just be some run of the muck street rat. You have to really, you gotta know some shit. Our source of water, water pretty much comes from whatever water source is closest to us, and we purify it, and that's the most I'll say about that.
Hot springs, cold shower.
Yo, hot springs, cold shower. Yeah, I'm not dumb. His son was no run of the muck little dumbass.
You're so funny.
What was that? Someone asked a question. Yeah, we have multiple places where we get water. Super easy. So yeah, pretty much. This is what we do at night. We have campfires. Almost every night we hang out, get high. On marijuana, illegal substance. I'm 24 years of age, so no worries on that. You don't have to get all mad at me. I might sound like a child, and I might be called son. I might use mommy a lot, but I am 24. But pretty much, what we do here on this canal is that we just try to build as much as we do every day. There's been a lot of chores and cleanup that's been needing to be done recently, but I got my own little place now, so I'll be doing a video soon of my area and whatnot, and yeah, got lots of plans to do stuff. I want to make actually my area into a. Oh, I was gonna tell you, I was talking to Scott, and if you let me, I was gonna use the pallets around the place. You said that I could use I could use the pallets. I was gonna pretty much make that into a carport, because if you look at it, like there's enough room on both sides to put a pallet. So if I just over at the greenhouse.
Oh yeah.
So I just pretty much make an awning that goes over it and then enclose it, so that I'd have a greenhouse inside of a pallet house,
Oh, well, beautiful.
right? And then just either put tarp the outside or tarp the outside
Staple the
inside.
greenhouse to the pallets from the inside.
See. Actually, I'd just leave it where it'd be away, because it's already tearing apart and disintegrating.
Snakes and milk.
Well, of course, that's one way. Adobe the bottom probably.
Oh yeah.
Make like a little like a foot of Adobe so that
Cool.
something like that, what you just said, won't come in. Honestly, I might just Adobe the entire thing. Wouldn't that be cool? Like palette it and then
just fill
Adobe
with
it.
Adobe.
Yeah,
That'd be really neat.
that's possible. Hear that, people? That's possible. So yeah, I have lots of ideas. And I could probably like, if I get a good enough solar panel too, I could Adobe it into the roof of it, like just pretty much enclose it to where it's like it stays
With
stationary on
Adobe
there.
brackets to screw it to.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think that metal holds up too good with Adobe. I think it moves away from the metal.
So maybe
'Cause-
attach it to the wood pallets and then Adobe down or like around it. Okay, that might work. That'd be better, more secure.
But you're gonna want to have your solar panel on the roof somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I meant. If I was gonna attach something that's like that rotates,
Yeah.
then I'll have like a rope on each side of my building.
Actually, the 720 guy has. Have you been there recently? Well, at all? If
720.
you look at his solar panel setup, he has a cord that he can pull where it flips it.
Yeah, see,
turns
that's
it,
what I want to
But
do
then he
too.
has another one that's down below that sits on a table with wheels on it, and then he just turns it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd have to figure that out.
It's got like mop bucket wheels. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. I just need a lot of screws and time.
Yeah.
Because there's enough pallets over there I can do it. I'd take like almost all of them though. You don't think so?
We need fence.
No, I said that project would, so I only probably would be able to get so high.
But we need fence.
Yeah, I know.
Those pallets are fine.
I thought you said some of them I could use. Like the one for the chicken. I thought I'd just destroy the chicken.
Just use the ones for chicken.
Yeah. Okay, I just destroy that and keep those then, and the rest are for the fence. Aha!
What's my fence getting for?
Well, can I have a house first?
No. You
Please?
must live under the tree.
No!
Of course you can build your house.
Okay, house first, and then yes. Then fence starts going up. I just want a place to lay my head every night, and then
Oh,
not
I
have to
agree.
worry.
I want you to have a place to live in. Are you
Yeah!
gonna sleep out there tonight?
Probably.
Nice.
I mean, yeah. It seems cozy.
Yeah, that bed is super, super awesome.
Demi will like it too, because you'll have room to lay on the mattress.
Yeah.
It makes me worried about the tweakers though, because I'm like the first to the camp. It's okay, I'm a loud wheeling alarm. Yeah! You can fucking hear me from anywhere, honestly. My diaphragm.
Yeah, you're pretty loud.
Okay, I won't do that again. But yeah, I'm excited. I finally have like a location. Yeah. So we're gonna pull that trailer close to the greenhouse then? Cool. Because then that means that like I can make like a living room area, because if I make it far enough away from the greenhouse, then I can shade in between and then place a living room.
Well, do you still want the trailer now that you have the greenhouse?
Yeah. I thought that was payment for the fence.
It is.
Haha! It's just I know that you needed time to go through it, so
Yeah.
the greenhouse gives me time for you to go through it.
Yeah, that works. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love you, Mom. If it was up your butt, you know. But his find it though. Isn't that right there?
No, that's the other spot.
That's the only one I knew. So, any questions about what I just talked about? Or was it pretty straightforward and blunt? Like, I just talked about a lot of stuff. Is there anything in particular that someone had a question about? Cool, it sees that 7 people are on right now. That's awesome. That's like a record for me. Oh, I just got another like too. Thanks, guys. I don't know who just did that, but you're awesome. Appreciate it. All the love counts. So So anybody, oh, another like, that's 3, nice. So has anybody gone extreme camping before? Like, what's the most extreme anybody's gone camping? And what was your one problem that you came across? Up to 5 likes. Damn, 5 likes. That's awesome. High five, guys. That's the most I think I've ever had on a video. 7 people and 5 likes. That kicks ass. You guys are awesome. We're just moving on up, guys. So, having a fantastic night. Everyone's pretty much passed out. Sleeping in the cemetery on the ground, people wake you loudly. Yeah, whenever I was traveling a lot, I had a lot of people wake me up too. I've slept in like every park you can think of, back alleyways, behind people's trash cans. I've actually never slept in a cemetery. I just feel like that would be kind of like bad juju. But other than that, yeah, I've gotten so many tickets for sleeping before. It's not even funny. There was one time I had to go to court for a ticket that I wasn't even sleeping. He said I was sleeping in my vehicle whenever I was clearly awake. I rolled down the window before he even got to me, and I still got a ticket for sleeping in my vehicle. It was ridiculous. I even tried to fight it in court, but I couldn't fight it in court because he didn't have his camera on his chest, so there was no proof that I wasn't sleeping. So automatically I was charged with camping. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, are you fucking kidding me? It's pretty crazy. I've slept in some pretty crazy places before too. There was this one time, you know, whenever you're driving across country, they'll put those like chains on the mountains to stop from rock slides and whatnot. Well, way back when, they used to make staircases on the mountains instead of those chain nettings, with big old railroad ties to stop the rock slides. And if you actually get into one of those, it's like an apartment complex. And I lived in one of those in Fort Collins, Colorado for like 4 months, and it was awesome. It was like one of the best experiences. I had to climb up a mountain to get to my hotel, to my apartment, but it was great. Yeah, so I've slept in some pretty crazy places before. There was even one time I was in Colorado. I was in Colorado a lot. I like marijuana. But I was in Colorado, and it was blizzarding like for multiple days in a row, and I couldn't get into this homeless shelter because at this one homeless shelter that I was going to, they do a raffle. They'll give you like a 52 card deck. If you get a red card, you're able to get in. If you get a black card, you can't get in for the night. And I was having a streak of bad luck, and it was during a blizzard time, and I was getting black card after black card, so I used this freaking bush as my base of operations. And when I was using this bush, my own body heat was kind of melting the snow that was on the bush, so it was kind of like it hard, and then it would refreeze, so it got like super hard. So I pretty much had an igloo bush that I lived in because it was so warm, guys. You have no idea. Whenever you first melt that layer and then leave it for alone so it refreezes, it like insulates itself. So people who live in igloos, like, there's a reason that they do that. It's because it actually insulates itself. If you just melt the inside a little bit and then let it refreeze, it like becomes this ice heating cool. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I only did that one other time because it was snowing so much. The snow plows were piling up a whole bunch of snow on the side of the road. So there was a giant pyramid on the side of the road. So I just dug into it and made like an igloo. That was cool. I lived in that for a couple days once. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling on right now. But if you guys have any questions about like my travels, like where have I been or whatever, just ask away. I'm an open book. I'm gonna go get some marijuana though real quick. I guess my marijuana blew away in the wind. Fuck it. Oh well. Life goes on. Well guys, I'm just gonna kind of hang out by the fire for a while. If you have any questions, I'll pop over. Just shoot away. Tonight I killed my mother in her bed because how about this? Do you guys want me to read you a scary story by the campfire? Matter of principle, Max Ellen Collins. It had been a long time since I'd had trouble sleeping, probably Vietnam, and that was gunfire that kept me awake. I've never been an insomniac, but you might think killing people for a living would give you restless nights, but truth is, those that go into that business simply aren't the kind who are bothered by it much. I was no exemption. I hadn't gone into retirement because my conscience was bothered me. I retired because the man I got my contracts through got killed. Well, actually I killed him, but that's another story. And I had enough money put away to live comfortably without working, so I did. The A-frame cottage on Paradise Lake was secluded enough for privacy, but close enough to nearby Lake Geneva to put me in contact with human beings. If I was so inclined, which I rarely was, with the exemption of getting laid now and then, I am human. There was also a restaurant nearby called Wilma's Welcome Inn. A rambling two-story affair that includes a gas station, modest hotel accommodations, and a convenience store. I've been toying with the idea of buying the place which had been slipping since death of Wilma. I'd been getting a little bored lately and needed something to do. Before I started putting people to sleep, I worked in a garage as a mechanic, so the gas station angle appealed to me. Anyway, man, this sounds kind of crazy, like I'm reading as a serial killer. Anyway, boredom had started to itch at me, and for the past few nights I'd had trouble sleeping. I sat up all night watching satellite TV and reading paperback westerns. Then I'd drag around the next day, maybe drifting to sleep in the afternoon just long enough to fuck up my sleep cycle again that night. It was getting irritating. At about 3:30 in the morning on the fourth night of this shit, I decided eating might do the trick. Man, this guy's creepy. Okay. Filled my gut with junk food, and the blood could rush down from my head and warm my belly, and I'd get the fuck sleepy finally. I hadn't tried this before because I'd been getting a trifle panicky since I quit working and since winter kicked in. In the summer, I'd swim in the lake every day and get exercise and keep the spare time off. But in the winter, I'd just let my beard go and belt size too. Winters made me fat and lazy and now fucking sleepless. The cupboard was bare, so I threw my thermal jacket and headed over to the Welcome Inn. At this time of the night, the convenience store was the only thing open, and the one self-serve gas pump. The clerk was a heavy-set brunette named Cindy from nearby Twin Lakes. She'd maybe 20 years old and a little surly. She'd worked all night, so who could blame her? Mr. Ryan, she said flatly as I came in, the bell over the door jingling. Cindy, I said with a nod and began prowling the place, 3 narrow aisles parallel to the front of the building. None of the snacks appealed to me, chips and crackers and Twinkies and other preservatives, packed delights. And the frozen food case ran mostly to ice cream sandwiches and popsicles, and this winter that was a joke. I was giving a box of Chef Boyardee lasagna an intent once over, like it was a car I was considering buying, when the bell over the door jingled again. I glanced up and saw a heavy-set man, heavy-set enough to make Cindy look slim, with a pock-marked face and black-rimmed glasses that fogged up when he stepped in. He wore an expensive top coat, tan, a camel's hair number you could make payments on for a year and still owe, and his shoes had a bright black city shine, barely flecked with ice and snow. His name was Harry something, and he was from Chicago. I knew him in another life. I'd turn my back. If he saw me, I'd have to kill him, and I was bored, but not that bored. Predictably, Harry something went straight for the potato chips. He also rustled around the area where cookies were shelved. I risked a glance and saw him. Not after 2 minutes after he had entered, with his arms full of junk food, heading for the front counter. "Excuse me, miss," Harry something said, depositing his groceries before Cindy. His voice was nasal and high-pitched, a funny childish voice for a man his size. "Could you direct me to the sanitary napkins?" "You mean Kotex?" "Whatever. The toiletries are just over there." Now, this was curious, and I tell you why. If you guys like this, let me know. If I'm annoying you, I'll stop. Now, this was curious, and I tell you why. I had met Harry something around 10 years before, when I was doing a job for the Outfit Boys. I was never a mob guy, mind you, strictly a freelancer, but their money was good as anybody's. What that job was isn't important, but Harry and his partner Lewis were the locals who had fucked up, making my outsider's presence necessary. Harry and Lewis not been friendly towards me. They had threatened me. In fact, they had beaten the hell out of me in the hotel room when the job was over for making them look bad. I had never taken any sort of revenge out on them. I occasionally do take revenge, but at my convenience, and when a score strikes me as worth setting. Harry and Lewis had really just pushed me around a little, bloodied my nose, tried to earn back a little self-respect, so I didn't hold a grudge. Not a major grudge. Fuck it. As to why Harry something purchasing Kotex in the middle of the night at some backwoods convenience store was curious, well, I lost my place. Well, Harry and Lewis were gay. They were queens of crime. Mom Muscle who worked as a pair and played as a pair. I don't mean to be critical, to each his own. I'd rather cut off my own dick than insert it into any orifice of a repulsive fat slob like Harry something. But that's just me. And me, I'm naturally curious. I'm not nosy, not even inquisitive. But when a faggot buys Kotex, I have to wonder why. Well, damn, this is kind of getting intense. I don't really like those kinds of words, but whatever. Excuse me, Harry something said, brushing by me. He hadn't seen my face. He might not recognize me in any case. 10 years and a beard and 20 pounds later, I wasn't as easy to peg as Harry was, who had changed a goddamn little. Harry, having stocked up on cookies and chips at Kotex, was now buying milk and packaged macaroni and cheese and provisions in general. He was shopping, stocking up, and now I knew what he was up to. I nodded to surly Cindy, who bid me goodbye by flickering her eyelids as casual contempt, and went out to my car, a blue sporty Mazda I'd purchased recently. I wished I'd had a four-wheel drive or anything less conspicuous, but I didn't. I sat in the car, scooched down low. I did not turn on the engine. I just sat in the cold car in the cold night and waited. Harry something came out with 2 armloads of groceries, Kotex included, I presumed, and he put them in the front seat of the brown rental Ford. Lewis was not waiting for him. Harry was alone, which further confirmed my suspicions. I waited for him to pull out onto the road. Waited for him to take the road curve, then started up my Mazda and glided out after him. He had turned left towards Twin Lakes and Lake Geneva. That made sense. I only figured he would wind up out here in this place. I figured he'd be out in the boonies somewhere. I knew what Harry was up to. I knew he wasn't exactly here to ski. That lard ass couldn't stand up to a pair of skis, and he wasn't here for ice fishing either. A city boy like Harry something had no business in a tourist area like this in an off season, unless Harry was hiding out, holing up somewhere. If you just tuned in, I'm doing a scary story. This would be the... What? Do you want to use it? I don't know where my tobacco pipe is, to be honest. Should be around here. Oh, here it is.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, sorry. I knew what Harry was up to. I just knew exactly what... This would be the perfect area for that. Only Harry didn't use Kotex. He turned off the side road into a heavily wooded area that would be back towards Paradise Lake. That was very good. I went on by. I drove a mile, turned into a farmhouse gravel drive and head back without lights. I slowed as I reached the mouth of the side road. and could see Harry's taillights wink off. I knew the cabin at the end of the road. There was only one, and its owner only used it during the summer. Harry was either a renter or a squatter. I glided on by and went back home. I left the Mazda next to the deck and walked up the steps to the A-frame. The 9mm was in the nightstand drawer. The gun hadn't been shot in months. Christ, maybe over a year. But I cleaned and oiled it regularly. It would do fine. So would my black turtleneck, black jeans, black leather bottom jacket, and a black moonless night. I slipped a .38 revolver into the bomber jacket right pocket and clipped a hunting knife to my belt. The knife was a razor sharp with a sword point. I sent out for it on the back of one of those dumbass ninja magazines, which are worthless except for mail ordering weapons. I walked along the edge of the lake, my running shoes crunching on the brittle ground, laying as if it was the snow and the ice on the leaves. The only light came from the gentle scattering of stars and a handful of diamonds flung on the back velvet. The frozen lake was dark presence that you could sense but not really see. The surrounding trees were even darker. The occasional cabin or cottage or home I paused was empty. I was the one of the only handful of residents on the Paradise Lake who lived year-round. But the lights were on in one cabin. Not many lights, but lights. And its chimney was trailing smoke. The cabin was small, and the traditional log cabin was an Abe Lincoln and syrup, only with a satellite dish. Probably 2 bedrooms, a living room, kitchenette, and a can or two. And only one car, a brown rental Ford. My footsteps were lighter now, staying on the balls of my feet, and the crunching under them were faint. I approached with caution and the gun in my hand and peeked in the window on the right front side. Harry something was sitting on the couch eating barbecue potato chips, giving himself an orange mustache in the process. His feet were up on a coffee table. More food and a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun were on the couch next to him. He wore a colorful Hawaiian shirt. He looked like Don Ho puked on him, actually. Hovering nervously nearby was Lewis, a small, skinny, bald ferret of a man who wore jeans and a black shirt and a white tie. I couldn't tell whether he was trying to trendy or a gangster, and frankly didn't give a shit either way. Physically, all the two men had in common were pocket marks and a desire for the other's ugly body, and neither one of them seemed to need a sanitary napkin, though a towelette would have come in handy for Harry something, Jesus. I huddled beneath the window, wondering what I was doing here. Boredom? Curiosity? I shrugged. Time to look in another window or two, because they clearly have a captive. That's what they were doing in the boonies. That's why they were stocking up on supplies at the convenience store in the middle of the night and nowhere. And that's why they were in the market for Kotex. That's why I instinctively, immediately known back in the welcome in. And in the back window, I saw her. She was naked on the bed in a rustic room, naked but with her white panties. She was sitting on the edge of the bed as she was crying. Damn, this is intense. Do you want me to keep going? The 4 people that are watching, I don't know. I mean, I know this is 18 plus content anyways. But, I mean, it is kind of getting good. Fuck it, I'm just gonna keep going. She was sitting on the edge of the bed and she was crying, a black-haired, creamy-fleshed beauty in her early 20s. Obviously, Harry and Lewis had nothing sexual in mind for this girl. The reason for her nudity was to help prevent her fleeing. The bed was heavy with blankets, and she obviously been keeping under the covers. But right now, she was sitting and crying, the time of the month. I stood in the dark in my dark clothes and my gun in my hand and my back to the log cabin and smiled. When I'd come out into the night armed like this, it wasn't to effect a rescue. Whatever else they were, Harry and Lewis were dangerous men. If I was going to spend my sleepless nights satisfying my curiosity and assuaging my boredom by poking into their business, I had to be ready to pay for my thrills. Shit. But the thing was, I recognized this young woman. Like Harry, I spent a lot of hours during cold nights like this with my eyes frozen to a TV screen. And that's where I'd been, that's where I seen her on the television. Not an actress, no, a heiress, the daughter of a Chicago media magnate, whose name you'd recognize, the guy who inherited a wheel and dealed his way into more, including one of the satellite superstitions I've been wasting my eyes on lately. The Windy City's answer to Ted Turner, right down to boating and womanizing. His daughter was a little wild, seemed in the company of rock stars. She had a tattoo of a star, not Mick Jagger, a five-pointed star, on her white left breast, which I could see from the window, and was a Betty Ford Clinic dropout. Nonetheless, she was said to be an apple of her daddy's eye, even if that apple was a tad wormy. So Harry and Lewis had put a snatch on the snatch. Was it their own idea, or something of the outfit put them up to it? I sat in the cold and dark and decided finally that it just didn't matter who or what was behind it. My options were to go home and forget about it and try, probably without any luck, to get some sleep, or to rescue this somewhat spoiled damsel in distress. What the hell? I had nothing better to do. I went to the front door and knocked. No answer. God damn, he's ballsy. Just like that. Just went to the front door and knocked, huh? Shit, I knew somebody was home, so I knocked again. Lewis cracked open the door and peered out and said, "What is it?" And I shot him in the eye. Oh, fuck. There was the harsh, shrill sound of a scream, not Lewis, who hadn't the time for that, but the girl in the next room, scared shitless and hearing a gunshot. One who, I paid no attention to her and pushed the door open. There was no night latch or anything, and stepped over Lewis and pointed the 9mm at Harry, whose orange-ringed mouth was frozen open, and whose bag of barbecued potato chips dropped to the floor, much as Lewis had. "Don't, Harry," I said. I could see in Harry's tiny dark eyes behind his thick black-rimmed glasses that he was thinking about the sawed-off shotgun on the couch next to him. Who the fuck? I walked slowly across the rustic living room towards the couch. In the background, an old colorized movie was playing on the captive's daddy's superstition. I plucked the shotgun off the couch with my left hand and tucked it under my arm. Hi, Harry, I said. Been a while. His orange-ringed mouth slowly began to work and his eyes began to blink, and he said, "Query?" That's the name he'd known me by. Taking the girl your idea, or are you still working for the boys? We retired a couple years ago. God, you killed Lewis. You killed Lewis. Right. What were you going to put the girl's body in? Huh? She's obviously seeing you. You obviously going to kill her once you got the money. So what's the plan? Plastic in the closet, gonna roll her up in it and dump her in one of those gravel pits around here? I see. Do that number with the plastic right now for Lewis. Why don't you? Okay? Tears were rolling down Harry's stubbly, pocket-marked face. I didn't know whether he was crying from Lewis or himself or the pair of them.
Charlie's mom is here.
Okay.
Get to me, but they're not using bulky.
Okay.
Charlie, come here. Mama's here. Come here.
Tears rolled down the pair, and I was interested enough to ask her, and I wasn't interested enough to ask. Okay, he said thickly. I watched him roll his partner up in the sheet of plastic using duct tape to secure the package. He sobbed as he did it, but he did it. He got blood on his Hawaiian shirt, and it didn't particularly show though. Now, I want you to clean up the mess. Go on. You'll find what you need in the kitchen. Holy shit. Dutifully, Harry shuffled over, got a pan of warm water and some rags and got his knees and cleaned up the brains and blood. He wasn't crying anymore. He moved to slow but steady, a fat zombie in a colorful shirt. Stick the rags in the end of Lewis's plastic home. Would you? Thank you. Holy shit. Harry did that, and the big man lumbered to his feet, hands in the air, and said, "Now me, huh? I might let you go, Harry. I got nothing against you. Not how I remember it." I laughed. You girls leaned on me once. You think I'd kill a person over something that trivial? What kind of guy do you think I am, Harry?
Come on in. Hey,
Hi, I'm Dia.
hi, I'm Tori.
Thank you so much. I do not know how much you
No, he was amazing.
Oh,
He was amazing.
no, you were so certain to work.
No, he is always welcome.
Sorry.
No, please.
We missed him so much.
Yeah, I know.
Baby.
Come here,
Well,
Scott.
we have kids over, so I can't do the story anymore. But you guys have a great night, and I'll finish it next time. If you like the story and you want me to finish it, then leave it in the comments and let me know. You guys have a great night, and I hope to do another live of a book reading soon.
Thank you.